Here's the important question. Can you wear black shoes with a navy blue jacket? I'm actually, this is kind of facetious, but it's actually legitimate. I have this debate with my wife all the time, and I'm not a fashion guy. And so this morning, I had black shoes on, and she said, no, you can't do that. Those who know that they have fashion sense, I need a raise of hands if you can do it. Oh, wait, okay, so there's people with fashion sense. So those who say you cannot do it. Okay, so, but we have a strong opinion over here. You didn't help me at all, because we sat there and debated. I looked on the web, and there's both responses, so I don't know. I went with the brown because I thought the black could be the faux pas. Thank you very little for your help. So, so here's the point of the presentation today. We're trying to provide solutions for mom, right? There's this thing called decision fatigue. You can see it in the bottom right-hand side there. We make over 35,000 decisions every day in our lives. Over 200, I think it's in 27 decisions based on a Cornell University study on food alone. So we get exhausted. That's why in the morning we're often a little better at making decisions than we are late at night, because we're tired, right? We've made a bunch of decisions. There was even a thing where President Barack Obama started wearing, and Steve Jobs is famous for this as well, of wearing very similar clothing all the time, or trying to eliminate the number of choices so that they didn't have as much decision fatigue because they were making so many other more important decisions in their lives. Our shoppers are going through the same thing. What's for dinner? Can I afford this? What should I wear? What will my kids eat? On and on and on, right? So decision fatigue is a real factor in our lives. There's a great little quote here by scarymom.com. Cooking requires food. Having food requires that I go to the grocery store. Going to the grocery store is never convenient, right? Now, I think pickup is actually going to make a big difference in that. And I was surprised yesterday when the question was asked, how many people have tried pickup? I would say almost half the room raised a hand, which was surprising to me. And it tells us that the kind of the fundamental proposition of pickup is compelling, right? So I think we'll see this hopefully diminish over time with more solutions that come online. But today, and in some sense perpetually, there'll be a concern there. How do we enhance the customer experience? Doug McMillan said, the way people leave a store, I better get this right. The way people leave a store or the online experience leads to whether they come back. Big question for Walmart. He also said, customers will determine if we'll be around, meaning if Walmart will be around. We are constantly improving the customer experience. If we're better at that, we'll be around. If not, we won't. There's a number of factors that you can read here regarding things that are important. Seamless experience in the stores and online and everywhere we are in our lives. Another one is helping people with time, making sure that we're providing for them a price, time, and value, right? And we see, particularly at Walmart, the focus on helping people with their scarcest resource, which is no longer, for many, money, it's time, right? And the last bullet point here, help Walmart with a primary focus, attracting and retaining shoppers, right? We need to help them get people in the doors and on the computers on Walmart's platforms or in their stores. And one of the fundamental pieces here that I want to make sure I mention is that partnerships help fuel this customer experience. Now, this slide talks about retail moments of truth, and I have a bit of an aside. When I was looking at this last night, trying to prepare for this, I got to looking at that cute little boy, and I'm the father of 5. So this is a total aside, but just bear with me here for a second. I was looking at that little boy, and I saw his eyes. See that face? Made me laugh. Father of 5. I know what that face is about. And then I looked, and I saw his hand, and I thought, okay, that thing's poised. And then I saw his foot, and I thought, he's positioned. And I was like, what's he going for? Swiss rolls, Little Debbie. You see what's happening here, right? Sorry, complete aside, but it just made me laugh when I realized what was going on. It may not be what was going on, but I thought it was funny. So let's just hit on the retail moments of truth, right? Do you agree with me? I mean, it looks like it. So retail moments of truth, right? We're trying to inspire her before she gets to the store. We're trying to help her plan. 81% of people enter a Walmart with a plan. They've already got it laid out, right? We know that some people will have shopping lists, and there's some debates in the industry about what that percentage is, but the number that we have is 81% of people enter a Walmart with a plan for what she's going to buy, what they're going to buy. We want to have an impact in store, and we want to help Walmart become a trusted retailer, and we want to have our brands be trusted, right? Let's see here. Wonderful. So here's just some examples of different promotions that we have done in partnership with some of you in the room. We mentioned some of these yesterday, but the top left is our Healthy Choice Power Bowls. They're a delicious new item from Healthy Choice. Shameless plug. They come in a bowl that you can actually throw out, and it will biodegrade. It's fantastic, delicious foods, really, really kind of food forward now. We've done a bunch of partnerships with Blue Bunny. I know you're in the room here today, Casey. Good to see you. We've partnered with the Walmart Bakery with their pumpkin rolls on the top right there. So we'll take Ready Whip and put it on the bakery pumpkin rolls and had nice programs. We've done a couple of different rounds of partnership with Dan and Wave and Kellogg's to make little mini yogurt cups, a solution that mom can enjoy very quickly. Take some yogurt, put it in a little pie shell from Kellogg's, add some Ready Whip, and you have a delicious treat in seconds. It's easy, it's delicious, it's a little bit different than what you might be thinking about, and a really good solution. The bottom there, it's a winner, breakfast for dinner. That's a partnership between Minute Maid and our small slugger brand competitor with Jimmy Dean called Odom's Tennessee Pride that you'll hopefully see more about over the coming years. And then the one on the bottom right there, also mentioned yesterday, is a partnership that we had with our Hunt's Tomatoes brand and Rotel with Bush's Beans. So partnerships are compelling. These partnerships that I mentioned, they're all about solutions for the busy family. That's what we're really trying to accomplish, right? Things that make her life easier as she comes into the store trying to shop. So we've all seen this, so I don't really want to spend a bunch of time here, but the moments of truth, right? Remember that 81% of people come into a Walmart with a list, and so on the left here, we want to inspire her before she comes into the store, and there's getting to be a lot of different vernacular in the industry, but we're going to call it the interest phase, right? She's not necessarily even thinking about shopping yet, but she's just kind of living her life. I heard last week the term called perpetual moment of truth from the Bazaar Voice Summit that was a couple of weeks ago, maybe. We want to inspire her before she gets into the store. We want to hit her at the 0 moment of truth when she's researching what she's going to take to the store and building that 81%, building that list. Of course, the first moment of truth during the in-store experience when she's going to purchase, as well as what's going to happen afterwards in terms of her ratings, reviews, how she feels about it, does she come back, how we interact with her during that time frame. Excellent. So we've talked about the shopper journey a little bit, and now we got to talk about what is it that we need to do to start running programs. How do we build partnerships? How do we create solutions that are meaningful to the shopper? So here's a big process slide, and I'm just going to walk you through it one for one. First, top left, you start with you start with the idea, right? So you have an idea for a solution. And some people would say you got to start with the research or the insight first, and I absolutely, fundamentally agree that insights are the critical driver. Sometimes, though, you just think, oh, that's an interesting idea. It's summertime. A sundae would be delicious, right? And so you need to make sure that you're catching both of those and not getting so hung up in the rigor of I have to have some, multi-$1,000 study that tells me common sense, right? But you also don't want to just assume that your common sense applies to the whole world because of the filters that are in our own heads, right, and the way we were raised or how we view the world. So you start with an idea. In this case, it was a partnership with Blue Bunny, Ready Whip, and Smucker's. So around kind of summer Sundays. You want to make sure then that the partnership idea that you've got, this solution idea, fits with your retailer strategy, right? So if you're looking to do a solution program with Walmart, you're not going to want to spend a lot of time talking about a loyalty program using loyalty card data from Kroger, right? So that's obviously an exaggerated example, but you want to make sure that what you're talking about will fit within your retailer's parameters and where they're trying to go. You want to make sure that you do research, market basket, seasonality, purchase behaviors, regionality, et cetera. Make sure you understand if this solution will make sense and really provide benefit to the shopper. Make sure that you're aligned with your brands. That goes without saying, but it's surprising how often we at ConAgra are thinking about a shopper idea and then realize, oh wait, that doesn't match up with where the brand's going. Probably should scrap that and start from scratch and make sure that we're lined up with the direction the brand's heading. You want to tick off a brand team, ignore their strategy, right? And we're trying to be aligned with our brand teams and our sales counterparts in category. It's a lot more successful if you can get your buyer's head going this direction when you think about a solution, right? These Ready Whip, there's a number of Ready Whip examples. Andrea, who should be here, does a fantastic job partnering with the buyer and with the sales team, with our buyer and with our sales team, to make sure that our solutions are aligned and that they're kind of in line with where the buyer's trying to go. And there's real power in making sure you're connected with them, getting their support. And if they have feedback or ideas, listen to them, right? They know the business really well. They talk to many suppliers of various kinds, so they have a really nice broad look at the industry. So listen to what they have to say. It doesn't mean you have to do exactly what they tell you to do, but certainly listen to them and take everything that you can and apply it. Partnership proposal. This is an important phase here. We've done a lot of partnerships, some more successful than others, and one of the key components of a great partnership, one of the components, is deciding what you want to accomplish, coming to the partner with a suggestion. For us, that often looks like a couple, 2, 3, 4, whatever it happens to be, PowerPoint slides. Sometimes it's just a single one that talks about what we're trying to accomplish. Here's what our brand is, here's the idea, here's the time frames we're thinking about that we've already talked to our sales teams about, so we know that we're not presenting to them something that our sales team's gonna balk at. They've already got a merch event planned, they've got something else going on. We're going on rollback at that time frame or whatever it happens to be. And then just some basic information about why we think the partnership makes sense. And it's amazing how much different the experience is when you walk in with kind of a clear, well thought out plan. It allows the people you're proposing partnership with to quickly absorb it and say, that makes sense for my brand, or actually it doesn't. Thank you so much for coming and chatting. Let's be in touch, for future opportunities. Make sure that once your partner says, yeah, I'm interested in this solution, make sure you line up, set out really clear expectations about tactics and budget alignment, right? Make sure that your one partner doesn't have $1 million to spend and you've got $50,000 to spend, right? Make sure you're connected there, that you're aligned with the kind of tactics you're going to go execute against. Make sure that you line up with your retail teams, with your sales teams, with your replenishment teams, so that your execution is excellent. Yesterday, someone mentioned the adage that a B idea executed flawlessly, I'm not sure who it was, or I'd give you credit, I apologize. A B idea executed flawlessly is better than an A idea executed poorly. I wrote that one down because it registered for me. So make sure you got the kind of tactics lined up, the tactical execution, lined up. And then, of course, always make sure that you're looking at the event. Was it successful? What factors were good? What were bad? Make sure you communicate those up into both organizations. And also, what are the future things you want to do together? If it works well, let's do it again, right? Excellent. So this is just a visual example of making sure that the tactics you're going to choose apply to the moments of truth, right? So the example at your left would be, influencers helping drive interest in the marketplace. Maybe you provide some content or native content that helps people as they're researching and developing their list. In stores, we've done a lot of things where we make sure we get signage that puts a simple solution, and we'll hit that in a second, in front of a shopper when they're in store. Very quickly they can get it, absorb it, and say, oh, that's interesting, I'd like to do that. And it's right by the product, and off you go. And of course, always, the experience afterwards. So this happens to be a landing page, a collected bias hub page where we've fed influencer content so people can think about unique ways to make a summer Sunday. This is another example of kind of the full breadth of tactics that we went after with this program, including incentives and the bloggers and some custom video content. I think there's real power in video content. I think we can all agree that our world is video now, right? So people expect more interaction there. Every time that you talk to her throughout her shopping journey is a chance to give her a solution which will build her, you're providing value for her, it will build your equity with her, and it gives you a chance to make the sale, right? So when you connect with her, at a landing page or on a banner ad or social influencers or in store, you're providing more impressions, right? And you're giving her more of a chance, not only to identify with your brand, which in the most kind of selfish form is what we really care about, but we're really providing for her an experience with our brand that will build her desire, her connection with our brand, as we learned about this morning from Fern. These are a few things that we have understood to be really important about partnerships. We actually wrote down a whole page of handwritten notes, of things that we were seeing that seemed to function best, that worked well with partnerships. And these are a good summary that Andrea made of those, which is the solution for her needs to be simple, right? Make it very easy. A mini pie crust, a little thing of yogurt, and some Reddi-wip. Got it. It's 3 things. I get the point. It's fun. It's unique. It sounds good. Done. Make it convenient. Make it easy to do, fast, and make it fun, right? People want to have experiences. They want opportunities to have fun experiences with their children and with each other. And so make sure you're providing solutions that work in that way. Now here's a few examples. I won't go deeply into these, but if you look at the left, here's an opportunity for the partners, right? The handshake there. We're extending audience reach. We're leveraging each other's brand equity, right? So when we partner with Dan and Wave and with Kellogg's, we get the equity that comes with their brands, and they get the equity that comes with Reddi-wip. And so you can leverage each other's equity. This extend audience reach thing, of course, you get more impressions when you're spending more money as a group. Drive growth, budget efficiency. I like spending half the money and getting the full results, right? I think that's common for all of us. I prefer to spend less and get more. New usage occasions. For Walmart, gives you more chance to break through. You're getting cross-category shopping happening in the box. You got loyalty and basket size and category shoppers entering, right? So somebody who's used to buying mini pie shells, who starts buying Reddi-wip, you're picking up new purchases from them. Maybe they purchase Reddi-wip more frequently than they did before. And of course, for the actual shopper, which is ultimately what matters most for the long run, is we're giving her inspiration. We're making her life easier through convenience. We're simplifying her trip because we're giving her a solution, making it simple. That customer experience is quick and easy. Less time planning and new usage occasions for her, giving her ideas so she can build new behaviors. All right, we're close here, people. Keys to partnering success. Partner with seasonally relevant items in trending categories. It really helps when yogurt's going crazy when we can connect Reddi-wip to yogurt, right? That helps our brand, and it gives them reasons, ways to promote. Early buyer alignment works. We already talked about that. Strong partners lead to expansion opportunities. Leverage cross-functional teams. Omnichannel is important. And then constantly be seeking new partnerships. Reach out to people as you meet people in the community or at industry events. Talk to them, get to know them a little bit, and understand what's going on with their business, and see if there's opportunities for connection. Because usually, at least in my experience, more often than not, it's beneficial to both parties. To have these conversations, even if they don't end up going to fruition. You have a new contact, and this is a small industry, right? We see each other all the time, so you never know what's going to happen in the future. And then on the right-hand side, and I would argue this is probably among the most important things, parts of this presentation, being a strong partner. Nobody wants to work with a flake, right? So come with a plan. Be clear. Set your expectations for what you're trying to accomplish. That doesn't mean be rigid, but come having thought through what you're thinking of, what you want to accomplish, and that makes a huge difference in being able to move a partnership forward and kind of get it past the starting phase. Over-communicate. Nobody wants to be part of a partnership where they don't know what's happening until it's almost happened or till it's over, right? And I've had experience there as well, right? And I think any of us who've partnered have probably run into some of these, but make sure you're communicating with the partner. They're a full partner with you, right? Be transparent. Proposals, contracts, IOs, anything like that, they should be public knowledge between the companies, right? You should be copied on every email back and forth. There's no need to be secretive about this. It's a partnership, and if it's a good partnership, we should be able to talk about everything that's there and feel good about the split. And it may not be that it's a 50-50 split. It may be that it's a 70-30 or an 80-20 or a 90-10, and you're just riding along with them, and it gives you benefit, and it cuts their cost by a little bit, or vice versa, right? But be upfront, be transparent, be straight about it. It builds trust, and trust wins, right? Obviously, if you're getting features or merchandising, it's helpful for the other person to know about it, vice versa. If you hear feedback from your buyer or theirs, it's good to share that, right? And that way you can make sure you're providing solutions that help each other. Share costs equally. And again, we just hit on that point. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but in a way that both partners feel good about. And I find that it's better if you're building a partnership that's meant to last, to not be overly particular here, not to casually spend dollars, but to make sure that you're not, you spent $10 more than me there. All right, finding kind of the happy medium of where we're going to go. We're trying to help each other out, and let's move forward, and things ebb and flow a little bit. Also, be aware of, make sure you're communicating any kind of challenges that are out there. A risk you see, a concern, or what you hear from a buyer that says, oh, maybe we're not going to be able to do this anymore, or we got to change it, or anything, whether it's to your advantage or theirs. Foster long-term relationships. We've done a number of programs on an iterative basis because they have worked, and we've built the trust, and it makes the programs a lot easier. Year one is always the hardest, and then almost always the hardest, and successive iterations are easier, quicker, and once you have confidence and trust in somebody, it's a lot easier to reach out and say, hey, Susie, we got this opportunity again. Here's the program I want to repeat last year. How do you feel about it? And it's a lot easier to say yes when you know what you're getting. And then share results. You can't always share every result, but anything that is reasonable to share, do share, right? Lastly, quote, we're all working together, and that's the secret, Sam Walton, right? Working together really does deliver results, not just inside of Walmart, but as shopper marketers in the community. And I would just add to that a win for her is a win for Walmart, which is a win for us. So let's work together to do it. That's it. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a lot of questions today. So you have partnerships a lot, and you have a lot of relationships in the community. You've been doing this for a while. I know Andrea has as well. What advice would you give to people who are just starting in this community or in the shopper marketing world and don't have those relationships built yet? How can they start those relationships, and what avenues do you guys use if you don't have a contact at a certain company that you want to partner with?
That's a great question. Andrea has a lot of partnerships and relationships in this community. She grew up in Fayetteville and knows the whole world here. But I think one of the most kind of beneficial ways to do it is just hit LinkedIn. If you think of a solution that you think is compelling and you want to initiate a conversation, hit LinkedIn, or even hit Google and try and find out the number for the office of the local office for the company you're trying to reach out to. We've done that a number of times, and it just allows you a chance to reach out, get on the phone, and then I would move pretty quickly to try and have a face-to-face interaction if you can, because it allows you to connect with them a little bit. So LinkedIn's a great way. This is a small community, not just Bentonville, but shopper marketing is frankly a relatively small community. So I'm surprised at how often I know somebody who knows somebody else, and it connects. So I would just start by being scrappy, and I never am bothered when somebody gives me a phone call out of the blue and says, hey, I've been thinking about doing this partnership with you. What do you think? I'm always open to it, and I think that's probably a pretty common sentiment.
So I want to pressure test, something that Fern talked about during her presentation.
Yeah.
And the suggestion was to partner with brands, in some cases, that maybe don't necessarily have complementary functional attributes to your products, but that are aligned from a brand perspective. Mm-hmm. And your mission and purpose and vision. Have you guys done anything like that, or are there brands that you can think of that make you say, that would be really cool because we feel like our organizations are aligned on a different level?
Yeah, definitely. I think we have more room to go. There are great examples of the Bentonville Film Festival, right? Our company wants to promote diversity and inclusion, like many companies. And so the Bentonville Film Festival, whose mission is about empowering women, people of color, et cetera, who are in the film industry to be successful. So yeah, we partner over Redenbacher specifically for that, and we have a lot of kind of excitement around that. Additionally, we've done it's been fairly small so far, but we've partnered our Hunt's Tomatoes brand the last 2 Februaries during Heart Health Month with the American Red Cross and provided a donation to the American Red Cross as part of the interaction. And we're trying to, Hunt's is about being real, and it's being okay to be different. Literally, one of the taglines is "It's good to be different." So we've worked in that space. I feel like we have a lot of, ConAgra specifically, I feel like we have a lot of runway to do a lot more there that we have not yet done, but I definitely identify with the concept. So, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Do any of your shopper marketing
So the question was, do you do any of your shopper marketing programs regionally, or are they all national in scope? We end up doing a lot of them nationally. I think we should do better. We often talk about how we get more regional, and we've done some. A good example of that is we have a small brand called Frontera. If you're from in and around Chicago, you know it. If you're not, you probably don't know it, but it's a great brand founded in restaurants by a chef named Rick Bayless. And so we're doing a very regional tour actually for that brand as we're starting to launch it out into more of the country, and so we're doing a tour that way. We also have done a number of things with the chili palette that you saw for Hunt's, Rotel, and Bush's, where chili is a personal thing. It's a regional thing. I grew up in Seattle, and chili without beans is not chili, right? And if you're from Texas, chili with beans, or at least for a good portion of people from Texas, it's not chili. And so chili is a regional thing, so we've been trying to hit some of the regional work there. We do the same thing with Rotel and queso, like Velveeta, famous queso. If you're from the Northeast, you do not eat that, right? Or I believe, according to our research. And if you're from Bentonville, Arkansas, you eat a lot of that. So, great question. Anybody else?
I'm just going to add one more question.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about it being 50-50 split or a 90-10 split or 80-20. I would ask what your advice is for people who may feel like they don't have huge budgets, like maybe a big ConAgra or someone that they would anticipate might not want to partner with them. Like, what advice would you give on other things besides monetary that people can bring to the table that they might not think about?
Great question. Two parts of it. I wouldn't ever assume that a big or a small company wouldn't want to partner with you. There's a number of times where we've actually reached out to companies that were tiny, where there was a logical connection between our brands. Those don't always execute, but we have a lot of conversations. So I think first, ask the question. And then when you talk about what they can bring that may not be monetary, it depends on your product. Maybe you get great placement inside of Walmart, or maybe you're in a really compelling category, or maybe the offering that you have, or maybe the kind of the intangibles that Fern talked about with your brand line up really well with where we're aspiring to go. I think it's always good to start out, have the conversation, and see what you can bring to the table. You never know what's going to be compelling to the other person.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, guys.